The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on beautiful Rose Lake. Vergas State Bank, your locally owned community full-service bank. Vergas Event Center for gatherings large or small, including weddings. Vergas Liquor Store, where all the profits profit Vergas.
Make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherry Hanson. Thanks for joining me today. I'm with Julie Bruin. We are in the lower level of the Vergas State Bank, and what is just a hidden gem, what a lot of people are not familiar with, and those who are enjoy it, is Gordon's Dairy and Butter Museum. Julie, you know, I've worked at the bank my whole career, and so I know a tidbit of it, but I'd like to hear the family side of it, and I know that you were very much a part of all the core, you know, curating and collecting the different things. And so tell me a little history on your dad and how this got started.
Yeah, well, my dad grew up on a dairy farm outside of Kensington, and so he kind of had that little dairy farming in his background.
I think there's a picture
There's
here
a picture
of him, yes,
of my dad when he was about 11 years old, where he's milking the cows on their farm. Then he moved to Vergas in 1956, and then they started Dairy Days. Him and Norman Hanson, who was the creamery manager at that time, they started Dairy Days, and it just kind of started to, he kept being interested. So he bought his first churn, which I can point out when we walk around, at an auction sale in town. And it just kind of started. He picked up a couple more churns that year, then he just started getting more. And he had them at our house. And my mom was ready. She wanted them out
of there.
And so then he started putting them in his office and the front lobby of the bank, and it was starting to get too much. So when the bank remodeled in 1987, he gained some space.
He did.
And he took the basement and started his collection, putting it down here. And it was in 1989 he actually called it a museum and opened it up. But he would bring people down here, especially the dairy farmers in town. He could sit and visit forever, talking to them.
Well, and those were the days that like the bank would hold, we would clerk auctions. And so he had the first, chance of, being able to look at it.
And then it became like you couldn't find nothing.
No.
It got
then
sparse.
Everybody kind of understood that. But what was also really fun is customers who were dairy farmers and stuff would just bring things in, and so he got a little bit of a taste of it that way. Then he started on the road collecting. Tell me about that.
Well, I drove my dad to Arizona every year, and then one of my brothers would go pick him up, would go down and bring him back. But your route was always around what antique shops, what has he seen might be available, and a lot of the antique dealers got very familiar with him. So he would get calls like, I have this, and so sometimes we were picking up something on the way, but a lot of time it was just to go and see. And so he's got stuff from several states, and he would winter in Arizona, and he would get things in Arizona, but Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, it was like,
so it wasn't a straight interstate route.
No, it was never an interstate route. It was always back roads and stopping and seeing or stopping and picking up something that he had bought when a dealer called him.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what we've got going here, Julie. I remember when we used to have Dairy Days, Gordon would come down here and he'd pull out the wooden ladles and the different things, and then we'd always use these butter molds. They intrigue me. Do you know much about them?
Well, I mean, earlier days, people made their own butter, and a lot of the businesses, so they would come and have their stamp that would be unique to them. And so you would have a clump of butter and you put that over and you stamp it down and you have a nice pattern on the top. So my dad, I think there's over 30 butter molds in here, and I think the one he never found, it was an eagle. And as I say, I don't actively go looking for things, but if I see and stumble on something, I would do it. When we did another interview once. My dad was missing a daisy number 10, and we found one, and we got a daisy number 10.
A daisy number 10, that's these up here,
Yeah,
right?
these are daisy churns.
Okay.
And 10 is just a number. That it doesn't mean quarts, pints. I mean, it means nothing, but these are daisy churns.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then people put their cream in and, just
Yeah.
turn it up.
Yeah.
What do you know about this?
This was an old milking machine.
And so they would sit there.
They would sit there, hook it up to the cow, and then your feet would go back and forth to move it. And it's getting so old, I don't move it too much
we can't
anymore.
demonstrate it,
Yeah.
right?
But it evolved from stomping churns to crank churns of various sizes that you'll see. But I think the one that is so hysterical to me is a Maytag washing machine, and they built an insert so that you could make your butter inside your washing machine. So I just find that one so fascinating.
That was multitasking back in the day, right?
I mean, I just think that is like so clever. Yeah,
that is. Some of this stuff right here came from the Vergas Creamery, right? And so they had the testing, and
they did the testing where they spun and to test the quality of the butter. And this isn't the first the first creamery in Vergas. It's actually a residence now, and I'm just getting that one reproduced because I feel it needs to be out. And that was a kind of a dairy truck, the Vergas Creamery truck. So so this is some of the early dairy items. There was milking machines, and then my dad had an interest in Vergas, so he still would grab old stuff from Vergas.
What you have on your shelf back here was different things at Christmas time. I remember businesses would give things away and stuff like that too, and so there's some of that. And
I have more to put in there, but it entails taking it apart.
You got to take the whole thing apart. It was meant to stay.
I will get my husband on that one day.
But
what was
so unique about Gordon is when he would have dairy days and he would be making butter for an event or something, he would just come down here and he would just grab the different things that that would use, and he just knew what needed to happen.
And this got to be a popular one used to make butter because you had a place to rest your hand. When you churned the other ones, it wasn't as comfortable.
Sure.
So if you look at some past Dairy Day pictures, that one's very common.
That was the one that was always used.
And you probably remember the stomper ones. They take forever, and you get tired.
Yeah.
I mean, you do get tired
ones.
churning. It doesn't happen fast.
No,
it
it is not a fast process. And it was something that maybe it was a child's chore to do in the morning and, to make the butter for the day on the farm or whatever.
Yeah. So Dairy Days was a big thing. It started in 1957. And, I mean, I have pictures of us in the Dairy Day parade. And, him and Norman Hansen at that time, who was with the creaming. Then he went on to be a federal inspector. But it was a big deal, and
it was very big.
It kind of stopped. When my dad passed away, a lot of that stopped.
Some of
unfortunately,
that, and don't you think the industry of dairy farming has changed a little bit? You don't have your small farms anymore.
No, you don't.
It used to be a big event in June up at the event center, and you would have many people come in, and your dairy farmers would just really enjoy that.
And then we did some in the bank basement after that.
Right.
Making butter, and he had his little sticker, and everyone could leave with butter.
Everybody,
But it took hours to make that butter.
Oh yes, it did, and you had to have the right cream. It had to be the right temperature. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah. And that cream is hard to get now because everything is so safety and pasteurized.
Right. And it makes a big difference.
Because you really need heavy cream.
Right.
And ideally before it's pasteurized.
Right.
Can't do that anymore.
There is so much more to look at, and so what we are going to do is, I just want to wrap it up with one question, and then we're going to come back next week again to see the rest of this.
Okay.
And so tell me, what is your dad's, would you say would have been his favorite thing down here? What brand or whatever?
Oh, De Laval.
De Laval.
De Laval. So if I can just show you, they gave out items every year. They gave the cow molds, but they gave these tin elements. These are very primitive. These probably would be very difficult to find now. And like the broom holder, all those De Laval. And then over here are the watch fobs. I think those were my dad's favorites because they were just so unusual and difficult to find. But I think he loved it all, you know. But
He loved
De
it all.
La Val was something he just really loved.
Yeah, and I mean a watch fob. Obviously, that's from a time that
pocket
we just don't
watches, yeah,
remember.
exactly.
And I just really appreciate how. I mean, you can just look around here and see the time that was taken by him and by you. I know, and your family. Just labeling things and just kind of curating it.
I mean, you do the best you can. I mean, my dad was such a great memory keeper, and there's things you thought you knew, but then when it comes down to it, it's like, oh.
Those are the days that you wish, why didn't I ask that question, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Because you walked through here and did stuff with them, and it was like you didn't capture it all.
No. So
But-
the Dairy Museum, like I said, is located in the lower level of the Vergas State Bank, and you are welcome to come down and take a look at it anytime you want during banking hours. We'll just lead you down here, and you're going to find a lot of treasures. And we're going to come back next week, and we're going to see the rest of those treasures. You have a good day in Vergas. Thanks, Julie.
Yep.